Hi, Rowena. We are back again with another behind the scenes video of, well, this time is not so much about our program, but our BTS this time is about the 15 days that we have turned up on social media, posting every single day. So, this is really about our 30-day visibility challenge. But for those who don't know what our visibility challenge is really about, could you give us like a brief overview of what it is and why we're doing it?
Okay, cool. All right, so the idea here is alongside the From Vision to Voice program that Krista and I are running this month, I had this scheme, this funny scheme I had hatched up this plan that I am going to post for 30 days alongside the program, just as a way to, you know, put more, I guess, be walking the talk, right? Talking to people about being visible, and I'm going to show up myself. So when I shared this idea with you, Krista, you said, well, I'm not going to leave you to do this by yourself. I'm going to join in. But then you went one step further by saying, hey, let's invite other people. And so this is how the 30-day visibility challenge came about. It's the idea of we are opening up to the community around us to join us in posting something every day for 30 days. Now, we have decided to do this on LinkedIn because that's where we tend to do a lot of our posts. But people who decide to join in, and it's free to join in, are able to use any platform of their choice. And you can choose to write or you can choose to post videos. So the idea is this is just meant to jumpstart your efforts. It's meant to be creating a sense of community around you so you're not feeling alone while you're doing this. And you have support, you have encouragement, because part of what you get when you join the Visibility Challenge is that you join a private Telegram group. And in the group, you will get daily prompts. So you're not having to think every day, what am I going to write about? You'll get a prompt. You're not obligated to use the prompt, but you get a prompt and you're off running and, coming up with ideas about what to talk about. So this is meant to help you overcome your fear of showing up online and prove that you can do this consistently. So that's the short of it.
Yeah. And we also decided that this would be something fun to do together as, people helping each other, um, reading each other's posts as well. I think reading and commenting. I think that was the fun part I was envisioning because sometimes when you write something and you want people to read it. I mean, you want people to take part and comment or say something about it. So this was the thing that really made me feel that if we do it as a group, we could learn so much about each other and we could also comment and cheer each other on when we see each other's posts online. Of course, we've chosen to do it on LinkedIn because that's the place that we hang out the most often, Rowena and I. So that's how we decided to get this launched and get this started. And so now, Rowena, we've been doing this for 15 days. We've showed up 15 days straight on LinkedIn. Day one, September the 1st, and until now, September 15th. So, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about showing up every single day versus in the past when you just showed up as you wanted to or as you liked or as you felt like showing up? How did that process compare to previously when you were just posting as and when?
Oh, it's a lot, I guess, to be honest. I won't lie. I already was posting regularly. I would say I'm active on LinkedIn. I'm active in the sense that I write articles from time to time on my own website for my business. So I have that practice already. But I won't say, oh, yeah, no problem, I can do 30 days. I was actually kind of uncertain if I could do 30 days like that. But I said, I'll give it a shot, just try it out. I think the first week was a little bit tough for me because of the fact that there were so many questions about me and what I think and what I'm doing. And it was a little bit hard because a lot of the time I'm working to focus on my reader, which, typically this is the small business owner, or I'm thinking about people who are wanting to build their visibility. So I'm always focused on them. And then suddenly there's a bunch of prompts. Of course, it's great to have prompts, but then they're all about me and what do I think about this and what do I think about that and how am I facing this? And it's like, oh, so much spotlight. So I was just thinking, for me, I still did it, but it was a bit of a struggle. So I can imagine that for somebody who's coming to this for the first time, really finding it challenging just to show up, much less talk about themselves. I can imagine that this process is quite difficult, but it's good to put myself through this as well. I'm I didn't take it for granted. So I am pretty happy that I have made it to the 15 days and I've been able to post, every single day. But I think a big part of it is just that commitment I made to myself when I started this. You start something, you got to finish it, especially if you go out and tell a whole bunch of people that you're going to do this and then invite them into it. So I made that commitment to myself and to other people. And I think that was a huge um, motivation, and it is a commitment. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from. How about you?
So when I decided to do this with you, I also had this thought. What if I can't show up every single day? What if I'm like bogged down by work and stuff to do and I like, could I actually, well, keep the promise to myself? And I think this is the part that I really believe, that if I made a promise to myself, I should keep it. And now that I made the promise in front of so many people and said that I would do this together with you, it's it's like more, right? More commitment than a promise to myself. So I have to show up and I have to show up every single day. In a way, both of us are in a way leading the pack, because if we're the ones who came up with the visibility challenge and we didn't do a single thing except turn up on day one and maybe day three, they'll be like, what's the point? I mean, even the people who created the challenge didn't turn up to do it. So it was more on our shoulders to really do it right, because we were like, okay, we came up with it, we promised ourselves, we promised other people, and we're going to do it. So I think that's what kept me going for the last 15 days, is the fact that I made a promise in front of so many people. And we did a LinkedIn Live, remember? We did a LinkedIn
You
Live
certainly did.
announcing this, that we're going to do
Yep.
this, and invited people to come in with us, invited people to join in and be on our Telegram group. So all these things really were like pushing me to do it every single day. And I have to be honest, every single day, like, okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I think of doing this daily post or daily prompt, right? So every single morning at 8 a.m., the daily question goes up. And then I look at it. And even though I'm the one who came up with the questions, I forget, right? I forgot what question will come out on which day. So when I look at the question in the morning, I think to myself, okay, my brain starts to work. But I'm not really writing anything at this point in time. I'm just thinking, okay, what kinds of examples or stories should I share? What can I pull out from my experience to talk about this later? And then the workday starts. But it's at the back of my mind. It's something like, it's just poking at me, right? I just can't let it go. And then when 4:35 comes around and every day I say, okay, it's time for me to do something. So I set myself maybe a timeline, a duration of maybe 30 minutes to do this. And so I just put everything down and try and make sense of what I'm trying to say, which sometimes is not perfect, but because I've got a deadline, right? 11:59 p.m. of every single day is our deadline to hit publish. So that's where I think, okay, to heck with it, right? If it's not perfect, who cares? I'm just going to do this because this is my promise to myself and a promise to the world. So I will create that post. And sometimes I'm probably like 80% satisfied. I would just hit publish. And so to me, that is my work style or work mode when I'm thinking of the daily question, is that I don't wait until last minute. to do it. I will do it maybe at 4:35. And then if I say, okay, I want to give myself some time to think a little bit more about this, I'll give myself maybe another half hour to just do something else. So my something else is actually looking for a photograph that sometimes has no relationship to what I'm posting. So this is my thing that I figured out will be kind of fun because the first line that people read on LinkedIn has nothing to do or probably has very little relevance to the photo that I posted up. And people are like, what? What is this headline and where does this photo fit? So in that moment, I think that'll be quite good to kind of like make it mysterious. Like you gotta click read more in order to figure out what the heck is this photo and why did she start with that crazy sentence. So for me, that was like a little game I played with myself. Let me find a photo that really has very little relevance to what I'm posting. And I'll put, of course, a caption about that photo so that people have some context like why did I post that photo at the end, right? So that's how I turn it into a game for myself because otherwise I'd be like, oh no, what shall I do? What shall I do? So I'll, okay, take some time off, disengage from the post, find some photo, relevant, irrelevant, doesn't matter, something that's about me, something with me inside that has, and this is the other thing, because it's LinkedIn and people tend to be so professional on LinkedIn, right? With all the blazers and all that. So that I think, let's play a game. Let me put a picture of myself at the beach. Let me put a picture of myself with my dad, my sister, my nephew, and my niece, which is so un-LinkedIn, which is where I think that's where a little bit of mischievousness comes into play. So I just think of it that way. Put some fun somewhere, and that made me more willing to show up and okay, let me do something really weird and strange. And hopefully it gets the right eyeballs. So that was my process. So in case if anyone's wondering why does her photo not have any relevance to her post, that's why. Because I wanted to put a sense of playfulness into that and kind of boggle people's minds a little bit. What about you?
I love that. And that to me is humanizing the profile. And I'll come back to that. So I'll share a little bit of my process. I usually, yes, as soon as the prompt goes up, I'm looking at it and I'm already beginning to like have a think about, oh, okay, what do I think about this? You know, I've got a document open because I'm usually already at my desk at this point, and I might just put a couple of notes, but I let it sit there. It's always in the background as I'm doing other things. Typically at the moment, pretty much teaching all day. So, but because I've had it have it in the background, as in when I have a free moment, I go in, I add a couple of notes. So by the time I'm ready to work on it, which is typically either in the evening or early night, because that's about as early as I can get to it. Like I need a chunk of at least half an hour, 40 minutes. Then when I get to that point, I've already got some things because things have been brewing, notes have been made, and I just start writing. I just do a brain dump. I don't try to make it perfect. I just want to get the ideas out of my head onto the page. And then once I have most of the ideas on the page, I can kind of like, and then it's like moving things around and kind of like making sense of it. So I did that in the first week, and I think I kind of had this idea. I'm just going to keep it brief, and that is so hard. That is so hard, right? I have this idea. I'm just gonna like don't do these massive pieces because that's gonna scare people. Like they feel like they need to write these massive pieces. Plus, there's also a character count, right? But it's a lot harder to write a shorter piece than it is to write a longer piece. So, you just get on with the topic and you're expanding. Next thing you know, oh my gosh, I need to cut down. It can't fit into a post. So that's usually my process. And then by the time, just like you, get to the end of the evening or the night, I've got something, 10 out of 10 times, I'm like, nah, it's not ready. I'm not happy. It's not where it needs to be. But it's like, do I have time? No, like I have dinner to get, or I have other things that I need to do, like maybe take a shower, and it's like if I park this to the next day, that's just two posts that I need to do. That's not going to work. And I don't necessarily want to spend another 2 hours on this. So at some point I have to let go when it's decent enough. I have to let go. And sometimes you've got a couple too many points in there, and that's what makes it more complicated because you need to address all of these different points. So maybe it's taking out a couple of points so it's a cleaner document. So that's my process, and basically get to the point where you say it's enough, it's good, it's workable, I'm going to get it out there. I will let go. I do all the things I need to. You write it properly, you edit, you check it thoroughly, but then at some point you just say it's good enough and I let it go. Did that for a whole week, and I noticed my posts were getting a little bit longer and longer, and that was stressing me out. And I said, I need to try a different format that's not going to be as stressful, you know. And so that's why in week two I said, let me try video. Maybe it won't feel so heavy for people to read it or, you know, get into it when it's a video. Video also has its challenges, you know, because you got to find lighting, you got to look good, and you got to deliver well. So it's like, but it's okay. Maybe it'll come across better. So I spent 1 week just doing videos, just to also, I feel like it's always good to have that practice. So I was happy to put myself out there. And then the third week, I'll just mix it up, right? So and with those questions, which, you know, some of them were pretty, you know, it can get into you as a person. It's not about work or the business, right? And I thought, oh, where do I want to go with this? So I did share some stories, but I feel like those are good things to do, because that's what I was saying about humanizing the profile. You brought these other photos in there. It's about the different facets to who you are. You're not all just work. You're not all just business. You are a human being, and you have family, and you have a life, and you have had issues to deal with. Life, right? And so I brought in some of those things, and I feel that's really useful and really good, because people want to understand the person too. They don't just want to hear about your views on a topic. They want to see who you are, and you being able to share your personal journey, your challenges, your experiences. They help to round out that perspective and humanize your profile. So you've done it. I have done it. That's the way to go.
And I wanted to add, don't you feel this sense of relief the moment you hit publish? It's like, yes, I'm, I'm published for the day. I'm not, I'm not like thinking about it. I'm not like still pondering, could I tweak it again to make it like better and better? You just hit publish, right? I mean, to me, that sense of relief that, oh, I'm done for the day. Yes, tomorrow is a new question, a new prompt. So you don't have to have this constant worry that you haven't, like, in a way, it's a bit like school, right? If you haven't finished your homework, tomorrow you go to school and your teacher gives you a new bunch of homework, you'll be like, oh no, like you said, I have two pieces of work to do rather than one. So if you can get that down, ready, finished, completed, tomorrow is a new day and you can get on with what is happening tomorrow. Which brings me to this point, right? The key lessons that we learned, I learned from myself, is this. It's easier to do it every single day than to try to do it day one and then pick up on day three and then wish you picked up on, day three on day, you were picking up day three on day five, and then you just all mixed up, and then you're like, I'm going nowhere with this. I might as well just give up. And this is exactly what we were talking about, like going to the gym, right? You need to go every single day. Even if you go and you don't maybe do much, but you still need to go. You still need to make it a daily practice, a daily habit of getting there, of doing even the thinking, the percolating work, the thinking of what you want to write. That is the work. It's not just about when you sit down to just type out that post or make a video. A lot of the pre thinking and the pre-thinking happens before you sit down to do the actual piece that you want to put up on social media. So this is actually I would say these are like the warm-ups. The thinking is the warm-up. And then when you're actually in there to do that post or to write a post or to create a post or video, that is the work. But without the warm-up, without the thinking of it, and for me it's the thinking of the question from morning until until the moment I'm ready to write, it's a process. It's at the back of my mind. It's not something that straight off I look at the question and say, okay, I'm gonna just write something about it. So I don't know whether this is a writer habit, but we think about it and we leave that thinking to simmer, percolate, macerate, whatever it needs to do to kind of give us that right thing that we want to write about when we are actually sitting in front of the computer or when we're filming the video. So I think this part, the key lesson is if you show up every single day, it gets easier. And this is my experience because it is easier now for me. I don't really second guess myself. Uh, Compared to the first 2 days, I was like, oh, should I write this? Shall I not write this? Now I'm going to write this and be done with it. And I feel that that is a much healthier way to deal with this fear of showing up instead of just thinking about wanting to show up but never showing up. And then that, I don't know, that emotion kind of sits and eats at you.
Yeah.
And I want to know whether you have that feeling too, right? They're like, oh,
No.
it's like this, like, this constant discomfort that's just bugging you.
Oh yeah, it's always there. It doesn't go away. You just get better at telling it to shut up, I guess. You're right about it being easier if you do it every day. That is definitely my experience. So I've had situations, where due to workload, sometimes I step away from writing, could be for a week, could be for 4 or 5 days. And I was finding that, second guessing myself, being reluctant to put a post out or sharing something. I was thinking, why is that when I already have so much experience and I am already active? So reminding myself of the fact that when you step away for a period, all of those fears, all of those worries, they come back, all those challenges come back. But as I got into this daily cycle, first few days, yeah, a bit of, it's there. But then as you get that momentum, it's less and less. It's still there, but you're just not paying attention to it. It's not bothering you as much, and you can just hit publish. So I really feel that the daily practice is very useful to build that habit, as opposed to, as you said, you start on day one, then you let it lapse, you try again on day five, try again on day nine. That is way harder, way harder, in my experience. And I think I also want to share another thing that people might be thinking about. Part of, like for you and for me, we write and then we're happy. We're not perfectly happy, but it's good enough and we put it out there. And part of that is a letting go, right? We've said our piece and we let it be. Sometimes people write and they're expecting that audience, so they're expecting people to have an opinion. Maybe it's an opinion that they don't agree with. Maybe they're expecting an argument. Maybe they're expecting pushback. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of expectation. It's all in the head though, right? Because we don't know. We're basing it on what? I'm not sure. So all of those things are coming in and preventing you from writing, but you should just put it out there and let it go. Because the thing about putting it out there and then having all those expectations is sometimes those expectations are not met. And then maybe it's silence. And then I've also spoken to people where they get upset because it's not getting the conversation going. People are just like liking it and they're not adding a comment. Why won't they add a comment? You can't really control other people and what they do. And really, we don't know what's happening in other people's lives as to why they choose to comment or not comment. So it's, I guess, really easy for us to kind of attribute some intent or some decision to their action, which may not necessarily be accurate, may not actually be reflective of what they're doing. And you read too much into it, and that affects you to the point where, okay, because I've put this one post out, I've put all my energy into this, and then no one said anything. Oh, no one likes it. I'm not going to write anymore. But, we're like billions of people in LinkedIn, billions of posts on your feed, constantly moving. So when I think about that, are people reading? Are people, why aren't they commenting? The main thing I come back to is, why am I writing this? What is this for? What is the message I want to share? Sure, I would like to get into conversation. Sure, I would like engagement. But if there isn't any, that's okay. At least my point is out there. At least I've communicated what I think. It's an invitation to you to join in. I'm not going to force you. And maybe you'll do it in your own time. You know what I mean?
The interesting point that you made just now is like people write with expectations, which I feel that for a lot of people, I think that's what they start with. I write so that someone else is going to read and give me their opinions, write some comments, things that are really hard on the person, especially if you've never written or never posted for a long time. And it can be very debilitating because of that. So I always believe that you shouldn't write with an expectation, even though it's very hard. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, people write because they want to be heard, they want to have their message conveyed to everyone. But sometimes having the expectation stops you from writing. Because, like you said, if no one comments on it, oh, no one cares. I'm not going to write anymore. I'm just going to stop writing. But maybe, like I said, right, we are at the mercy of algorithms. Sometimes it shows on someone's feed, sometimes it doesn't. If it shows, great, you'll get the comments or the feedback or whatever that you're looking for. But if it doesn't, why wouldn't you continue writing? So this brings me back to the point of, remember blogs, Rowena? Blogs
Yeah,
as in
yeah.
blogs, blogs.
Hmm.
In the time of blogging, this was in the early 2000s, people always had the expectation too, right? Like if I wrote a blog post, I want some comments. I want people to like it and share it. And the same thing, the same expectations that we have today of social media. But I remember one time when I was writing my blog, I was asking myself, if no one read it, would I stop writing my blog? Would I stop airing my opinions or what I felt about a certain situation or a certain problem or challenge in my life? And I told myself, no, because that was my form of therapy. I wanted to vent. I wanted to say something. And by saying something, it really made me feel lighter. It made me feel better about the situation. And I could process. I'm the kind of person that I need to write it down to process that.
Yeah,
It's
same
very
here.
hard for me to process it up here. And
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about this problem and I'm going crazy because I can't really figure out. But the moment I write it down as a blog post, the moment I see it as an article, something I can read and put like some things into it, then I start, I guess in a way, solving my own problem. I realize, oh, that's how I'm thinking about this. That's how I am figuring things out through the process of writing and figuring things out. So that's where I feel that even if no one read it, whether it's my social media post or whether it's my article, it doesn't matter. Because first and foremost, I think we should all write for ourselves. If we can write for ourselves as a form of self-expression, therapy, a way to just, talk about stuff that's in our head, but we can't
Yep.
get it out until we write it out, I think that would have been a very solid objective, even,
I love it.
for our 30-day challenge.
I love it. Yes, that's so true. Why not? Why shouldn't you, right? And I think, nowadays, just that ability to communicate, as you say, it's getting harder and harder. And those points you made about how sometimes you don't understand what you're thinking about something until you've got it written down, that you need to write it down. Um, this journey of writing that has been, years and years, I have seen how it has been very helpful to me as a clarifying exercise, helping me to understand how I feel about something, helping me to understand how I approach a topic. So writing has been really powerful in that sense. And I really believe that others will also benefit. And the fact of the matter is, our ability to communicate is something everyone needs. It's not just communication specialists or people who, are in marketing or PR. Everybody needs this ability to communicate, right? We want to be seen, we want to be heard. But part of that is not it's not just about being seen physically, it's about making sure that we're understood, which involves us communicating either through our words, through our writing, or how we're speaking to people, and how our nonverbal ways of communicating are supporting those messages. So it's a huge piece, and we can all benefit from doing a lot more of it. So that could be one reason to do the challenge too.
Just
It's
to
not
get
too
your
late, right?
ideas down.
It's
Yeah, it's
halfway.
not too late.
It's not too late. So even though we're halfway, you
So
might be
join us.
thinking,
Join
yes,
us.
oh, it's already halfway. Yep, but we've got halfway more to go. So you can join anytime.
Yeah, so if you're thinking of joining us midway, we welcome you. We think it is a great exercise for you to learn about yourself through this act of writing or making a video or creating any form of content. Even sometimes just taking a picture and putting a caption or two
That's right.
or description
Yep.
is actually quite helpful, just to get your process in place. I mean, just to get that
Just to
that
start.
idea. Yeah.
Just to
Just to
start.
start
Yeah.
anyway.
So
Yeah.
don't feel
Yeah.
like you have to do what I did, which was write these lengthy posts. I just couldn't keep it short. But you can put like a paragraph out. You can put 2 paragraphs out. Heck, you could even just put 3 sentences too. Like there's no hard and fast rule for how you need to show up with this challenge. As Krista's pointed out, you can have an image and you can add something for a bit more context. I think context is important, but yeah, don't feel like you need to write an entire essay. A short post is good too.
Yeah. So I think if you're thinking of joining us, just go to the link underneath this video, or you can go to tinyurl.com/30 as in 30 day visibility challenge, and you'll see the instructions right on that page. You can join our private Telegram group and you'll get the daily question. And if some people decide not to answer the daily question, it is okay. You answer whatever questions that you want to answer in your own head.
That's right.
But as both Rowena and I think about this, is we have a structure and a plan for the questions though. So this week, actually, we are already in week 3, right? Week 3, the questions are meant to help you show up and help you not just show up, but also create a way for people to understand who you are in work as well as outside of work. Because sometimes we define ourselves so much by work and business and career and professional journeys that sometimes people don't know who we are beyond that. And I think it's good to talk about some of these things in the way that you answer the prompts, in the way that you just decide to take a different perspective or spin on a question. It's up to you. But at least we show up for ourselves first, and then after that, we'll see what happens after that. So that's why one of the fantastic things about showing up every single day is that you kind of lose your fear of showing up online. And I think that is the clarity and confidence we want to build for everyone, even for ourselves. So, Rowena, any final thoughts before we end this BTS?
Final thoughts. Well, we're here to say that we are running the 30-day challenge. We're halfway through and we welcome you joining at any point in time. If this has got you in any way curious or motivated, don't overthink it. There's no such thing as the perfect time. You just start now. Start with what you have. Start from where you are. Just go for it.
Okay, so with that, that's it for our BTS, where we are talking about posting every single day for the last 15 days, showing up every single day without fail online on LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with myself or Rowena on LinkedIn, please feel free to connect with us. You can also check out all our posts from day 1 until day 15, and even, of course, until the end of this challenge. And yeah, join in. We just encourage you to join in.
Yeah, absolutely.